Yo, how we doing, YouTube? This is Dominic here, Dom Ecom, giving you guys a little video on how I was able to leave my 9 to 5 and I was able to make $6K a month as a setter when I first started out, and how you're able to do this as well. What's going on Instagram and YouTube? My name is Dominic, and I'm going to give you a little introduction into who I am and how I was able to get into remote sales and end up leaving my 9 to 5 to do remote sales. So right when I got out of high school, I obviously, for the summer needed a job. So I got Walmart as a job. It was my first job, not dealing with school and work at the same time as well. I was on that 9 to 5 grind, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was stuck and lost. I was in community college at that time too, but I really wasn't applying myself just because I didn't like it. I only did it because my parents really wanted me to do it. I kind of was put in an ultimatum at that time. And 6 to 7 months after work, and I was let off. And I mean, who gets fired from Walmart? A little while after that, I got cheated on by my girl. I was put in a bad mental state. I was hella depressed, didn't know what I wanted to do, and my life was literally at a downward spiral. I thought my life was completely ruined, right? But then I started doing concert work after that, right? I worked massive shows at Gillette and Fenway. This was like 5 months after, keep in mind. At Gillette and Fenway Park, it's back in Massachusetts. That's where my hometown is. I met new people, met famous people, and I also saw what's possible with hustle. I met people that showed me to chase for the bigger picture, that there's more to chase for than just some bullshit 9 to 5. They even said it's good to be sustainable, but what do you want in life? And that's what made me really think. And that was also the very thing that changed my mindset into taking control over my own life. And it wasn't just some massive mindset shift, right? It was just a point where I hit, where I knew I couldn't keep repeating the same cycle, doing the same thing over and over again. I wanted to actually build something and do something for myself. Okay, we're good now. And I'm not saying, this is some massive shift, but I just hit a point at that time where I knew I couldn't keep repeating the same cycle over and over. It was getting repetitive, it was getting boring, and I knew it wasn't for me. I wanted to actually build something and make something of myself. And that's when I started looking for new skills while also trying to branch out, right? And that's when I took the big Florida move, right? I originally came to Florida on vacation. It was supposed to be a 2-week vacation, nothing else. The energy, the people, and the environment, it all felt like it was the biggest opportunity of my life, and I knew that if I didn't take this opportunity right now, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. From there, I ended up meeting great friends who showed me what was possible from there. And right when I saw that, I knew to never stop with doing remote sales. So when I actually started living there and I started progressing there, I finally got comfortable enough to know that I could live there. And the first thing that I learned is about setting. In a basic sense, what setting is making money through communication, either through DMs or if it's through phone calls. It could be either or. I started learning, I got on offers, and I built up momentum from there. Everything changed once I applied and I learned the connections, and then it was up from there, right? Sometimes the biggest move isn't the mental, but it's the actual physical change with yourself, right? Changing your environment and everything else around you is something that's going to follow you later on in life. And that's a lot of things that people don't understand. They think, because I'm going to get into this space means I have to live there now. No, that's going to come once you progress. I had students that literally wasted my time texting me being like, I got 2,000 to my name, but I'm going to live in Miami. No, you're not. How are you going to live there? How are you going to afford anything living here? It makes no sense. So now that you guys know a little bit about my backstory and how I got into it, you're going to ask me, what is setting, right? And it makes sense. It's a reasonable question. But before we do that, you have to understand the 3 core concepts. And I think of the 3 core concepts just like the 3 goated warlords, the 3 African warlords. They are my goats, right? And they are the 3 things I will never forget. The first thing is the desire. Understand what the lead actually wants, right? If it's a make money offer and this dude is a millionaire, is he gonna want it? Maybe. Are the chances of that? Are you trying to figure that out though? Yes. That is the thing that you need to figure out, the desire, right? You can know all about them, but knowing stuff about them won't do anything if you don't know the desire. The next thing is the fit. Confirm if they're actually for the right offer, right? Say it's a fitness offer and the dude is jacked up, right? He's not going to want to join a fitness offer on how to get more jacked. Dude already has all the connections in the world probably from going to the gyms and stuff. Unless he's at home and he's trying to build a connection. Then at that point, they're looking more for a connection building community group look, right? And they're not going to want to pay high ticket offer for that. And the next thing is too, right? Their capability. Book them if they're warm, right? Pre-framed, and if they're ready to buy. Make sure that they're prepared enough that they know that this is somebody who's serious, somebody who's willing to work with you, but you have to take it serious too, and that there's going to be some sort of investment in there, right? And now we're going to go into, right, at the end of the day, the setter. They're going to connect the traffic from traffic to opportunity, and the opportunity leads to the revenue, and it leads to generating revenue for you and your team. So now we're going to get into what are the types of setting, right? There's business to business, and then there's business to consumer. B2B and B2C. Those are the two key things that you'll need to know, right? So what's the difference between the two, okay? Well, first, there's a key factor that you need to know. B2B is more precision and logic, while B2C is more connection and emotion. It's different psychology-wise, but it has the same communication skill, and you are having the same directive at the end of the day. So we're going to get into my favorite, which is B2C. I feel like it's the easiest one, trying to persuade people into buying or spending money. A lot of them are individuals, random everyday people just like you and me. You watching this video, me making the video. It's everyday people who are interested in the influencer's content that you are working with. And it's for niches like fitness, coaching, mindset on how to make money, FBA, drop shipping, whatever it may be. It's stuff like that, right? And the goal is to book fast trust calls. And what are fast trust calls? Have them having trust in you enough to book in the call willingly and them wanting to work with you, right? So then your tone is going to be more empathetic over logic, because the thing is, you're trying to figure out what their pain point is, right? And you also want to figure out, their emotional connection, right? The pain point is going to be the real reason as to why they want to be in this. Why are they even hitting him up in the first place? Why they're talking to this person in the first place? Why they're applying to this type form in the first place? You have to figure out that pain point so you can overturn it on them. Not in a condescending or rude way, but in a caring way, where they know that they need help. Convincing them that they need that help, right? The sales cycle is going to be a good nurturement from combos to booking. Now we're going to go into setter KPIs that you're going to have to do for the day. So it's either going to be your calls or DMs per day, your outbound, so that's either how many calls you dialed in or however many people you DM'd, right? Your show rate. Your show rate's a very key thing, because if you have a bad show rate and you're booking in 20 calls, what's the point? You're not generating us any money. You're just booking in calls for the fun of it, And then we're going to qualify for emotion, urgency, and affordability. So when we ask how much they have in capital, right, they're going to say 4 or 5K, right? You're not going to say, okay, you're going to get in this 10K offer. No, you're going to say, oh yeah, well, the full program is $10,000, but, after talking to you and after getting to know you a little bit more, figuring out what that quote-unquote pain point is, right, I really see some potential in you, bro, and it seems like you have real drive. I'm thinking we could work something out. Would you be open to doing that? Boom, book them in with a closer. You just got a nice little 2K payment. Granted, that's not all going towards you, but you were getting commission out of that. Commission is always good, and you all had to do was just hop in a 30-minute conversation, max. And even at that point, you're forcing it at 30 minutes. It's 10 to 15 minutes max. So, calls booked for that day too. You're going to have to make sure that you have your calls booked for that day on there. An example conversation, right? This is an opener. Okay, Brian, it seems like you've been having this problem for a while. So, what's really been stopping you from getting the results? Now that's finding out their pain point. Now they're going to say, oh, this, yada, yada, yada. Okay, why is that? Then they're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. As just finding out the emotional connection and overturning it on them. Then getting to know them and qualifying them in that meantime. So your role in the end of the day is to build rapport fast. Humanize, sound like an actual person. Don't just sound like every other salesperson. Guide emotionally to the call and make them believe that they need the guidance from that said influencer. So at first, I wasn't the hugest fan of B2B and didn't understand it, but I ended up becoming a big fan of it and ended up loving B2C. And here's why, right? The audiences are business owners who have money. These people have money. Like, you can pitch them $20K and they're not going to flinch. They're going to sit there unfazed being like, okay, yep. You can get upwards to $50K, $60K off of one person, You never know. The sky is limitless at the end of the day, right? So it's business owners, agencies, and service providers that you're going to be outreaching to and that you're going to be talking to on behalf of them, right? So your tone, this time is going to be more logical over emotion. Because the thing is, why are you going to emotionally guide a business owner? That just makes no sense. Once they realize that they are emotionally guided, they're not going to work with you. But if you put it in a logical sense and make it make sense for them, it's going to make sense for them. I mean, I don't know how any other way I could say it, When you're saying more logic over emotion, you want both at the same time. I'm not saying you don't want both at all, but I'm saying you want more logic over emotion, right? You're going for ROI, right? Your return on investment. That is the main thing that people are going to be interested in. You talk about a return on investment, and then you lead into an emotional state because of that, and talk about how it could affect his life if we just get him a good ROI. Boom, closed, you get some money, boom, right? So longer conversations, obviously, follow-ups with owners because a lot of them are going to be busy, but the KPIs are going to be a little different as well. You're tracking your pipeline dials, demo book calls for the day, right? Lead source quality, if the quality was good or not. However many sources you talk to, right? And then on example, right? When you have to track the niche, you could be like, hey, so-and-so, saw your agency/service, quick question. What is the way you're currently getting new clients, if you don't mind me asking, right? Might be an opener into like an SMMA, which SMMA is social media marketing agency. Anybody who, markets for another person, that's like an opener that they would give, right? And your role is to build trust fast, ask data-driven questions to get as much information as you can so the closer can actually propose a good offer and a good, concise plan for them. And you're also going to qualify for decision maker access. Like, you're basically going to say, like, okay, like, am I talking to the business owner and everything? Making sure you're clarifying that you're talking to the person, right? And we're going to lead into the scripts that I actually use. And if you want the full scripts, DM me script to receive the scripts that I use on a day-to-day basis. These are base scripts. It's not for any specific niche or anything like that. Right here is B2C, and right here is B2B. And I'm going to go into the importance of these scripts as a solo setter. Scripts aren't meant to make you robotic, right? They're not meant to make you sound like somebody who's just following orders. No. Instead, their whole purpose is to make sure that they have combos that move with purpose and that you have control over the conversation 24/7. They're asking you questions 24/7. You're just there to answer his questions. You're like a free ChatGPT, basically, right? But when you have the flow cold, you lead confidently. You have control. Prospects feel that more than anyone, right? It's just from just another rep to just somebody who knows where the combo is going and how to direct it. Control builds trust, and trust builds bookings, and bookings builds revenue. There's nothing better than revenue, let's be honest. You can't scale chaos and BS, let's be real. When your script is systemized, you can actually measure what works, tweak the tone, and replicate the success better than anyone else. Every line that you have is data, right? And every objection that you have is feedback, right? That's how you build consistency, and later on you can build teams. And you can adapt to scaling up to 100, 200K months, right? And these are my key factors if you're new trying to get on an offer currently, right? The first things first, and this is what I tell everyone when anybody asks me, how do I get into this space? Build connections. Stop being afraid. Whether it is setters, closers, or growth operators, it does not matter. If they like you, they will help you get on an offer one way or another, especially if it's one of their offers that they are on currently. Your whole goal is to build real relationships, not just asking for favors, and it's way easier the realer you are as a person. They just like you for you. Let's be real. Number 2, understanding the game and actually how it works, right? Study the setter to closer flow, the works and the intricacies of it. If you don't even understand how that works, you're never going to flourish in this business. All right, so number 3 is you're going to show the proof of communication. Show that you actually know what you're doing and how the space works. Show mock combos or even real DMs that demonstrate that skill. And a way that you can actually show that is a Miro or Notion portfolio. And you can just screen record it while on that loom, right? You can just show that you understand the process way better than just making some loom talking awkward. Way better. You're going to seem like way more of a personable person. And you have something to base it off of. Direct it towards their niche and you're cool. Number 5, you're going to DM operators. When you do not ask for opportunities. Do not ask for them to give them an offer, put them on an offer. No, that's not the way that you build connections out here. No. What you're going to do is you're going to show value first and how you can actually generate them money, right? Show them that you're worth it to be on the team, that you're good to work with on the team as well. Be a personable person and show that you're true to yourself. If you don't show that you're true to yourself, you're never going to get on an offer. And the thing is, number 6, once you're in, you have to stay consistent, and I mean it. Reliability wins every time, and it's what keeps you on offers and gets you on better ones, right? And the main thing is, like, people don't hire potential, they hire proof, and proof of concept is the main thing. If you have no proof that you can make somebody money, how are you ever going to be able to get on an offer? And if you want to learn from me, you can always DM me on Instagram and I'll be willing to work with you. And if not, it's okay. Always tap into the YouTube, and I hope that this helps. I hope you guys have a great day and God bless.